Kלים, Perik Chafov, Mishnah Gimel. And we're carrying on with leather clothes. And in this case, we're dealing with gloves. We've dealt with gloves before, twice before. This is the third Mishnah. For this Mishnah, I'm going to be mefarishit with the Perish, with the Shitta of the Rambam. Says the Mishnah, Kaf loikte koitzim Torah. We've had this before. The glove, or the piece of leather used to protect the hands of the people who collect thorns, is tahor. Right. The basic rule for clay or for leather clothes. Oir follows the rules of clay 8 exactly, which means the only way that a clay oir can be mekabel tumah is either b'tumas medris, which we'll deal with later on, which we've come across before. But the regular way a clay oir can be mekabel tumah is if it is a kli kibble. Except for the fact that we said that oir, because it's soft, doesn't actually have to be shaped in a cup like having a base kibble. It can actually be a kli poshut if it's soft leather, because then it's roy le kibble. Now we're dealing with a glove. The Rambam writes, the reason why this cuff is tahor is because it has no tzura of a kli. For leather, the first principle is that leather's it must be a kli. However, this is just a piece of leather which protects the hands. It hasn't got fingers. You just put it round your hands, you wrap it round your hands to protect your hands so they shouldn't get dirty, they shouldn't get pricked. Therefore, it hasn't got a tzuras kli, and therefore, if something hasn't got a tzuras kli, there's nothing to discuss. It's tahor. That's simple. From the next case, the Rambam comes up with a chiddush. Hazun v'habrachior tamein. These are also leather. The zun is a type of leather belt, and the brachior is a leather knee patch. A rounded piece of leather or a flat piece of leather shaped round the knee, used for people who have to kneel, and therefore thus protecting their knee. But again, this really doesn't have the characteristics that we need for a kli or to be mekabel tumah. Why? Because it's not a base. It doesn't have a base kibble. So min ha-Torah, this really doesn't qualify as being a kli oir with a base kibble to be mekabel tumah. Here the Rambam comes with a bit of a chiddush. The Rambam says, from this Mishnah we see that the Rabbanon gave pshutei kli oir tumah if they also have the tashmish of a malbush of a beged. Now, min ha-Torah, we'll come to begodim later. Min ha-Torah is either a kli kibble or it's not. It doesn't have a special status as being a beged. However, when there is a kli or poshut which serves as a beged, serves as a malbush, as these do, therefore we have a tumah d'Rabbanan for these type of leather clothes. Therefore, a belt and a knee patch is included. Similarly, the Mishnah carries on, "Hasharvulim tamein." Same word in Ivrit. Sharvul is a sleeve. These are leather sleeves put on the arm. They go all the way up the arm, and therefore that's got the tzura of a beged, the tzura of a malbush, and therefore, although they're not mekabel anything, they're mekabel tumah midrabanan. This is in contrast, as the Mishnah, to haprakalaimin tahirin. Now, prakalaimin is actually we've had this before, I'm sure you all remember. In Perek Chaf Daled, Mishnah Tesvav, it says Shloisha parkilinin hein. Parkilinin is, according to the Rambam, is the same word as prakalaimin. Again, these types of gloves, patches of leather wrapped around the body. The one mentioned there, the last one was Shel kayotzin Torah miklum, the ones used for people who gather thorns or the fruits, kayots, the fruits of the summer, is tar. And again, this actually is very similar to the kaf loik de koitzim. It's not clear from the words of the Rambam the difference between the kaf loik de koitzim in the beginning of the Mishnah and this praklaim Torah. Whatever happens, they have the same din, because in both cases they don't have a proper tzuras kli. They're just bits of leather wrapped round the hand. The Mishnah carries on, v'chol beis etzbois Torahs. In fact, all leather finger pouches, they used to have gloves which don't cover the whole hand, because if they cover the whole hand, then it would have a din of a normal glove or Tzuras Malbush. Here they cover just the fingers, just sits over the fingers. Again, this does not have the characteristics of a Malbush. They don't have a base kibble, therefore they're tahor. Says the Mishnah, Chutz Mishel Kayotzin, except for the base spois of the people who collect, the people of the Kayotzin, again, people who collect thorns, or the summer fruits. In this case, such a base spois is actually got a tashmish of a kibble. Oig is a red berry from the sumac tree, and when they collect this oig, they then want to put the oig somewhere. Instead of stuffing it into their pockets, they actually put it in the finger of the base spois, and therefore this is a classic kli or sheyesh lo base kibble. Nikra, because of that, if this base spois gets torn, it all depends whether it can still be makabel the oig. It may not makabel as roiv oig. If it cannot be makabel the majority of the oig, in other words, the hole is so big that the oig would spit out, tahira, because it now doesn't have a base kibble. Pretty straightforward Mishnah, and we come up in Shem to Mishnah Dalad, which again is going